All right, welcome back to another episode of the Denway podcast. I think it's going to be a good episode today. I got here Allie Gray and Kale. Am
Yes.
I right? So how you
Yep.
say your last name? Sawed off?
Kale Sudoff. Yep.
Yeah, okay. I'm butchering it. How you guys doing today?
Good. How are you?
I can't complain. Like I said, it's been a busy day for me. I'm starting to do some work and make some money with a friend, so I'm trying to learn some websites, some SEO stuff, and then doing my podcast. I was supposed to have a podcast episode earlier today, but we both were kind of busy. He was like, "Well, if you can't make it, we could just get rescheduled." Like, thank you so much, but it's good to have you guys on today. And where you guys from?
Salina, Ohio.
Ohio. Okay, my family's from Detroit, Michigan, so
Okay.
that's great. So, if I'm not mistaken, you were Allie.
Yes.
Allie Gray. You were Ohio, Miss Ohio team.
Yes. So currently I am Miss Ohio's team. Yes.
Okay, so how old are you?
I am 18 recently. I just turned 18 July 11th.
Oh, well, happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna start with that, so we can get into this. Can you share a little bit about that experience?
Yes. So this is my first year competing in pageants. My first pageant was at a local level, so just in my own hometown. It was Miss Lake Festival's teen, and that was the first pageant I've ever competed in, and I won. And then the next step after you win a local is to go to the Miss Ohio level. So I was competing for Miss Ohio's teen in June against local girls around Ohio, and I came home with the title. And we are supposed to make up a community service initiative. Mine is Be Real, Not Perfect. So that's what I've been promoting this past year. And as Miss Ohio's teen, I'm going to continue to promote that over this next year. So
what made you, like you said, that was your first time doing it? What made you get into all of it?
So I didn't really know much about the program from the start, but I wanted a hobby. I didn't really do a whole lot. And I wanted something that was able to put myself out there because I knew I could bring a lot to the table when it came to the person and the character I had. So I decided to do it, and it just kind of led me in a direction I did not expect to be where I'm at today, but I'm grateful for all the opportunities I've had. So it's been great.
What, was there a lot of nerves going on with that?
Yes. So, yes, of course. So at the local level, so the first pageant I ever did, that was smaller since it was just in my own hometown. That wasn't as bad, but when I was competing for Miss Ohio's team, I was pretty nervous. It's a pretty big deal to compete against a bunch of girls from around the state. And then it's going to be even more nerve-wracking this January because I'm competing for Miss America's team against all 50 other states.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Have you felt like, do you have any friends? Did you make any friends in doing that?
Yes. So I have made a ton of friends. We call them sisterhood in the program. It's just all the local girls that I've competed against. We all just form a sisterhood, and it's a really strong bond because we're all doing the same thing for the same reasons. So it's just a really good connection I've gotten to make with all the girls. And over my year as Miss Lake Festival's teen, I've already met so many people. So it's going to be really cool to see how many more people I meet as Miss Ohio's teen.
That's really cool. Well, I wish you a lot of luck.
Thank you so much.
Going forward. Now, Kel, you're an author, right?
I am, yes.
So how many books do you have? Like, how did you get started in writing?
Currently, I have 3 books published. They're all children's books. I'm a children's writer. I don't really consider myself more of a sophisticated writer. So I love to write for kids. I got into writing when I was 15 years old. I was born with a stutter, so that made reading and everything related to it really difficult. Even just like talking sometimes, I found very hard. So when the idea to write a book first came into my mind, I really didn't have like the courage or just the I don't know, mindset to get into it, but just I just felt like I was just continually showed by God to give it a shot, and
Okay.
I'm so glad that I did. Just that first time that I began to write, it just felt so natural, and I just can't even explain that feeling. And writing has just become such a huge part of me now that
Hmm.
I can't even imagine my life without it. I've been drawing for as long as I can remember, so I draw my own illustrations for my books too.
Okay.
And it's just something that I find such great joy in. I love to write for kids with what we in the teaching community call exceptionalities. It's where kids, well, certain kids find certain activities or other things just very difficult to do, while other kids might find those easy. And I just really want to bring attention to these individuals and show them that although you may have been born different than somebody else or different than the crowd, you were born to stand out for a reason. God doesn't make mistakes, and He made you just how you were meant to be, and you don't have to pretend to be something you're not to try and fit in with anybody else.
I definitely understand that. Being somebody in a wheelchair, growing up, I felt like I probably had to be somebody else to, you know, to fit in and all that good stuff. But like as an adult, I realized that I could just be me, and people will like me, and my friends and everything else. Like that was one of the hard lessons that I had to deal with being in the wheelchair and figuring out who I was and things like that. So I definitely appreciate you trying to instill that in young kids' life at an early age to help out with some of their confidence, things like that. So, what you say you wrote 3 books? What are the titles of those books?
My first book is called Danny the Duck Heads South. My second book is Danny and Kevin Conquer Camping. That's a sequel to the original. And then my third book is Stuart Quills and His Explosive Emotions.
So let's talk about the emotions. Like, what was your, I guess, inspiration and motivation to write that book?
Well, I work at a preschool part time, so
Okay.
that's kids just starting out in the whole schooling system, and I
Hmm.
find that they really haven't quite figured out how to control their emotions yet. And
Hmm.
for instance, like I've seen kids just run up and knock somebody's block tower over or something, and they'll just explode on them.
Hmm.
And I just really think it's important for kids at a young age to learn how to control their emotions and to not bottle them up to the point where they're just going to explode when something goes wrong.
I definitely understand that. Some of us adults need that book too, because they do not know how to control their emotions. Now, how old are you?
I am currently 19.
19. Got some young people on the podcast. Now, are y'all friends or is this platonic or romantic? I don't want to. I don't oversight. Um, a- yeah.
We're just friends.
Yeah.
Yep. We
Okay.
just met a couple months
So
ago.
met a couple months ago. So what do you guys do together? Like, um, so explain this dynamic to me.
Okay. So I'm currently working on a new book called Born to Stand Out. This is a book
Okay.
targeting to bring attention to hearing loss and those who are hearing impaired. And Allie actually has a pretty cool talent with the Miss Ohio pageants.
Which is American Sign Language to a song. And I have known sign language ever since I was little, so about third grade. And I've
Okay.
taken college courses trying to get in the motion of the language again. So Kale reached out a couple months ago because he knew I had that ASL background and he was currently writing his book. So he had reached out and we had decided to work together and make an opportunity called Silent Opportunities, which is hopefully being able to award a scholarship to someone that's been affected by hearing loss or someone that is in the deaf community or someone that's dealt with something like that. So we're really trying to promote just I think our together is just to promote a changing of a life. We really want to impact someone's life that's been impacted by deaf awareness.
Yeah, we just really
Now,
give more opportunities to kids that sometimes feel they're overlooked, sometimes feel that they're sort of alone in their struggles, and just show them that they're not alone in that.
I like that a lot. I'm really big on community, and everybody needs a community to belong to feel a part of something special in this world, because it can be kind of hard sometimes. And like I said, I'm big on that. So, Allie, so you said how long you've been? What age did you learn
So
ASL?
I'm not sure what age I learned, but I was in 3rd grade at the time.
Okay, so so why is this like kind of big? Like, how did you get it? Was it just? I know they kind of teach you a little bit in school. I know when I was in school, they kind of did. Was it just that, or did you have a family member or a friend that um, had a problem with the deaf? I'm sorry,
No,
that was deaf or hard of hearing or whatever.
So everyone always asks my background with sign language and if I've had someone in my family that's been deaf, but I haven't. My background with that, I was involved in a church family. I still go to that same church. But one of the moms in my church, she had a son and he was deaf. And no one would really talk to him in church, but I would always see him communicating with his mom because she interpreted everything in church to him. So
Mm-hmm.
I would always find myself looking at what they were doing in church, and I always wanted to try and understand what they were saying. And luckily, she had actually worked at my elementary at the time. So when I was in 3rd grade, she also worked at the school. So I had asked her at church one day, I said, "Would you ever be willing to teach me?"
Mm-hmm.
So I told her I didn't like recess that much. So I hated the cold. So she had said she was willing to take recesses with me and teach me basic sign language, kind of see what I think of it. And I had 2 friends that I also got involved with it at the time. And from there, I just kind of took off with it. So she taught us from 3rd grade up till 6th grade, every recess she could. We did talent shows. We dedicated songs to a former principal that passed away a couple years ago. So we really just all fell in love with the language and we all knew we had a gift, but I took a break in my middle school years. I didn't have a use for it.
Mm-hmm.
There was no one deaf I knew, so I just kind of wasn't communicating. And then in high school, I started to take college courses, and one of them was ASL. So
Okay.
that's when I find God had pushed me back into that again. So I did that throughout high school. I've taken 3 college ASL courses, and then I kind of just found it in my talent again for Miss Ohio and all that. So I kind of just God's placed me where He's wanted me to be with it. So I'm glad I can continue that.
For sure. Now, what song was that you did it with your talent? That you.
Yes. So I did at my local level. I did the same song for my state at Miss Ohio, which was "Don't Give Up on Me" by Andy Grammer. I
Amy
felt like
who?
what
I'm sorry. You said Amy who?
Andy Grammer.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yes. So that song was just a meaningful song at the time, saying like, "Don't give up on me." I had a lot to offer, and I know people are going through a hard time, so I just wanted to spread the message that no matter what you're going through, you can overcome it. And that kind of tied back with my community service initiative, "Be Real, Not Perfect." So I felt like it was the perfect song to represent what I stood for.
That's cool. I like that a lot. What about you, Kel? Do you know anybody in the deaf community, or like what is your passion with this? I mean, outside of like writing books and things like that. Like, what
Okay.
is your yeah?
Yeah. So I was actually in the same class as Roman, the young man that she just mentioned before. I always saw his mom sort of just signing to him, and I really never understood what she was saying. And yeah, he just was sort of like the outcast of the group because he
Okay.
really couldn't communicate with anybody around him. And yeah, my whole writing process, my whole sort of ministry with my books is to just include those who are being outcasted, and yeah, just bring hope to those who are living in a dark world. And yeah, working with just people with disabilities and people who generally aren't even given the time of day by other people. They're some of the nicest people I've ever met. And
Mm-hmm.
each time I meet one of them, it's just such a great experience. And I walk away from that being so inspired when I'm supposed to be the one inspiring them. I feel like I'm getting more out of the conversation than they are. Um, yeah,
Sure.
there was this one time, it was my first book signing for my second book, and I was just sort of sitting there. It was about halfway over. A lot of my friends and family came, and it was great, but I just really wasn't seeing an impact on the people that I was writing the books for. And I was just sort of frustrated in that moment. I was like, God, why did you have me write this book? Why am I here right now? And about 5 minutes later, the door opened up, and in walked a 12-year-old girl with special needs. And she was with her dad and her little sister who did not have special needs. And it was just a night and day difference from how her father treated her to her other sister. He just looked on her with just what I can only describe as disgust. And it was just such a heartbreaking moment. And as soon as she walked in, she walked right up to my table and just started talking to me. She had no idea who I was. And her dad pulled up a chair and sat her next to me and just sort of walked away. And for about 20 minutes, we sat there just talking. And I said maybe about 3 words the whole time. She just wanted somebody to listen to her. And my heart was just shattering. And because there was this such beautiful girl inside that nobody else would take the time to see, not even her dad. And on her way out, she turned back to me and said, maybe someday you'll write a story about me.
Oh
And
wow,
that has just carried
that's
me through for years. Just
that's
thinking about that moment.
that's very cool, man. I'm excited to see y'all make an impact in this world because when I pray, I always pray to make an impact, to make a dent in somebody's life, and even sometimes for me, I know it comes. I can go outside or I'm on a ride and I, I'm not really in the social kind of attitude. I don't have that attitude right there to be social, but like sometimes like you have some of the best conversations with people and just listen to them. And like I said, all they want to do is want to be heard. And I know I want to be heard. You want to be heard. Kale and Allie, y'all want to be heard. It's just so like I love this. Like it's cool. It's encouraged me to um, continue to do what I'm doing because the reason why I do my podcast is because I struggled. I didn't see anybody pretty much like me be really not even successful, but like I didn't see him have everything an able-bodied person had. So it was very discouraging growing up. So, but now I'm in a situation where it's like I hang out, have friends, I go on dates, I do a lot of things that I didn't think I was going to do growing up. So um, I like to show people that yeah, life is tough, and you may have some issues, but at the end of the day, like you have to live with what you got. And I just, like I said, I just want to create. I still want to create hope because hope can take you so far. I love having hope. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have hope. Um, so congratulations to your parents for raising you guys up to be some great people. So you say his name is Roman or Rowan? Rowan?
It's Roman. Yep. Roman
Do y'all
Skinner.
still are y'all still in contact with him or?
I haven't seen him for a couple years.
No, I haven't either. So what's cool about his story is his mom actually adopted him, and he's from Germany.
Oh,
So
wow.
so he grew up deaf, but in Germany he had no one. He couldn't communicate. He had no one there to communicate with. So when she had adopted him, she had taught him sign language from the get-go. Like that's
Okay.
who he learned it from. And so he turned 18. So I know he moved out and he's kind of on his own right now, but he hasn't been around for a bit.
So with that, y'all have a nonprofit. I think, did you tell me that? I know I read it, but you have a nonprofit, right? You guys,
Yeah.
or
Yes. It's called Silent Opportunities.
Silent Opportunities. Okay, because I was like, hold on. I know I read that, but I don't know if you said that already. Talk to me about the nonprofit. And I like that name, by the way, Silent Opportunity. That's kind of cool.
Thank you. So with this, we just are looking to make funds to just support those in the deaf community, not only in the deaf community, just to support inclusion of all those who don't feel included. We're looking to make a donation to the Ohio School for the Deaf to just give more opportunities to kids who are attending there. And yeah, we're just really trying to foster the idea of inclusion and to just give more opportunities to kids that don't see a lot of successful people like them.
Mm-hmm. And I think also, I want to add to that, we are focused on, I know with my talent and my ASL background, I'm focused on more deaf focus, but I think we're both agreed that we want to include anyone that does feel outcasted in a sense. So Silent Opportunities might focus more in the deaf community, but we really just want to include as many people as we can because we know a lot of people feel alone. And again, we don't want to make another outcast out of that by not including more people.
For sure. For sure. So do you guys educate when I say able-bodied, hearing or whatever, do you kind of try to educate them on that community and how to assist on that inclusion? Because I know a lot of my friends, sometimes I'm probably the only guy in a wheelchair that they've known. I've heard from occasions like, look, I didn't think about, we go places like, I don't think about it because I don't have to deal with the same things you have to deal with. But now that we're friends, like I have to like think about things like about bathrooms, steps, and things like that, like how accessible it is for you. Do you guys kind of educate people that want to know? I know everybody's not going to want to be educated in that, but do you try to help out with that? Not only including, but like, because I think it's a two-way street. Sometimes you have to educate the able-bodied community too. Are you guys doing that, or what is my question? I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Are y'all guys doing that? Because I think that's a very important thing about inclusion as well.
Yeah, so a cool story, and I'm sure Kale can add to this in a second. But Kale actually works with preschoolers. I know he's interning. Is that the word for it right now?
Yeah.
He's getting involved with preschoolers, and there was a camp not too long ago, maybe about a month or two ago, that he had asked me to come in and teach sign language to the preschoolers. So I didn't teach a whole lot of sign language, but more of the basic things because, of course, they're preschoolers. So I got to teach them ABCs and some colors. So, and none of them were deaf, but it was really cool to see them pick up on it and actually want to learn that. And I know with my opportunities I've had in the deaf community, through my college course, I've done deaf game nights. I've been involved with deaf concerts. So it's really cool that I've had the opportunity to get involved with the deaf, not just the deaf, but also spread that awareness because a lot of the people that are involved, they aren't deaf. But it's cool that we're all coming together for a good cause and just to be involved in such a special community.
Yeah. With the preschoolers, it was just like the best part of it was just like seeing them like get it, like understand, like, oh, this is B and I can use it.
Yeah.
I can sign it. And yeah, that was just really cool to get them excited about that. And what I really seek to do with my books is not only to inspire others who feel outcasted, but also to well, one of my big ideas is that if kids see it in a book or on TV, then they're going to treat it as normal when they see it in real life, especially from a young age. So, yes, when kids read my books and they see kids born with a disability or just outcasted for any other reason, they're gonna see this in real life, and they're gonna know that's a person just like me. There's nothing different about us, and I can talk to them, or I can include them just like I want to be included.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, I'm going to ask you a question, Kale, because I'm a person that cannot read a book to save my life. I could read, and I will read, but I enjoy, I guess, books. Have you gotten to the audio book side of it, where because like I retain so much stuff when the book, I got the audio part of it, and I'm listening to it, and I could be doing other things, but I cannot just sit there and just focus and just read a book. Are you going into that, or are you just sticking with just the hard copy?
I haven't actually gotten into the audiobook part, but that is really something to think about, because yeah, that really does help me with like longer books and things like that. Because like when I'm reading longer books, I'll have to like go back and read the same thing a couple times just to retain
Yes,
information.
I'm the same way.
I'm like, man, it's funny because I really didn't know about audiobooks, and I was at work. I was working at Walmart, and I noticed the car pusher, he always had headphones in. So I was like, hey, man, what you listening to? Said, I don't really listen to, I listen to music, but I'm listening to usually when I'm at work, it's an audiobook or a podcast, and I love podcasts already. So and he showed me a couple, apps, and I'm telling you, like, I probably doubled in my life what I've, like, actually read in my life with those audiobooks. So I love them. So I'm always getting audiobooks and checking them out, or my little audio app where I get the credit and buy a nice little book. So yeah, it's a cool thing, because I'm telling you, I can't. I can focus on it, and like one thing, I hear noise, and like I'm looking, like I cannot focus on that book, man. So, but I definitely love what you guys are doing. So you're not actually in college. Kel, are you in college?
I am in college. Yep, I'll be a junior this year.
What is your major?
Elementary education.
So you want to be a teacher and everything like that?
Yep.
What about you, Allie?
So I am currently an upcoming senior at Salina High School, but I've been taking, like I mentioned previously, college courses through the College Credit Plus program since I've been a freshman. So this next senior year, I'm doing fully online through college courses. So kind of just getting a head start on my future.
So do you plan to, like, where do you want to go to college? If that's not too personal.
No, all good. So I got offered, since I won Miss Ohio's teen, I got offered a 4-year full ride to the University of Alabama. So so that's definitely kind of where I'm looking, but again, that's far away. So we're seeing if there's any other counter offers or anything up in the air. But
I could tell you. I mean, this is not. I like to have a conversation with my guests, so like we could talk about stuff. But like, I tell you, I live in Tennessee now, and like, it is football. It's like heaven down here. So Alabama could be a cuss word. Either you love Alabama down here, or the Volunteers, and when they play each other, it's crazy. So I don't know if you've been down there or y'all come down to the South, but it's like college football, everything, and it's really, I've never experienced anything like that. Like, I definitely love it. It's like it's an experience that you have never experienced in your life. And so if you do go to Alabama, you're probably going to have some fun, like with all that good stuff, and going to the games and everything like that, and going around saying "Roll Tide" and everything like that.
Oh, I've already started saying it.
Oh, you say it already?
Yeah, sort of. When the idea got brought up, it was kind of a joke with some of my Miss Ohio directors, but yeah, definitely still a decision I've got to think about and see what other offers are up in the air.
Now, what do you want your major? Like, major?
Yeah, so I actually haven't decided that yet. I'm kind of just letting God take me where He wants to. I'm looking for maybe a business degree in college, but again, just kind of, I still have a little bit to think about that, so haven't fully decided.
That's really cool. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about church a little bit because I grew up in church and everything like that. And I was a youth leader at one point in my life. So I think that's cool. Like, talk to me about that, the church community or the youth community in your church. How is that? Like, is that something that y'all lean on, or is this? I don't know. Like, I know sometimes people aren't big on that, but you sound mature and you kind of. It seemed like you're allowing God to like lead you guys to do things. So you sound pretty sure in your faith. So how is that? I don't even. Sometimes I just ramble and I forget the
Yeah,
question
no,
I
all
want
good,
to
all good. I'm picking up what you're putting down, so all good.
ask.
Um,
Appreciate you.
yeah. So my church, we didn't really. My church has moved and we've built a new building, so
Mhm.
it's kind of been under construction for a little, like the past couple years. It's fully built now, but there was a time when things were different. We've never really had a youth group.
Mhm.
We That's more of a recent thing that's been brought up because our elders in our church, they've always thought we need a youth group because I think just having kids in a normal Sunday church and not having that background, it's very hard to pick up. So
Mhm.
I didn't grow up with that background of a youth group, but I know I've
Okay.
slowly, my parents have always pushed me to go into church. So I've learned routines and
Mhm.
obviously prayed, and God is really the center of my life. And I think He
Mhm.
has really pushed me in the direction. So I know just keep following Him throughout my life and my years, and I know I'll be good because it's God's timing, and I know He has a plan for me.
For
So.
sure. What about you, Kel?
Okay, so I was raised in the church too. I've been to 3 different churches throughout my life. The second church I went to, it was really good, but like it didn't really have like an established youth group. So I was just sort of like missing that like sort of community aspect. I didn't really have a lot of Christian friends. And then when I was, I believe, a junior in a high school, um, this alert popped up on my mom's phone, and it was something for what we call Kingdom Harvest Ministries. It's like
Mhm.
uh, people can leave the high school during lunch and go to this sort of church class and eat there with like a whole community of believers. And that was just really cool. I made a lot of friends there, and they invited me to their youth group. So that's where I go now. I have a lot of friends there, and it's just great to have this community that I can lean on. And yeah, everything that I've really needed, God has provided. And um,
Mhm.
yeah, for a while, back when I was going to the second church that I talked about before, my mom got sick for a while, like a pretty long while. So we had to watch church online. And
Okay.
then right after that, then our internet just sort of tanked, and we couldn't even watch church online anymore. So that whole aspect, like every sort of godly influence, just got sort of taken out of my life. And then I was just sitting there, just sort of praying, just asking God, put me in a community where I can be with other believers. And that's when my mom saw the Kingdom Harvest Ministries thing. So
Cool.
every time that I'm just in desperate need, God shows up, God points me in the right direction. And yeah, you just got to believe that God is going to do it for you. And don't try and force something that's not meant to be. Just,
Mhm.
yeah, head in the direction that God's calling.
I like that, man. That's good, man. Yeah. If you can go to Alabama, I went to a cool Christian school down here in Tennessee called Lee University. I don't know if you ever heard of it. Um, I actually, like I said, I was a youth leader. We would take the kids to Ocean City, Maryland. I'm from Maryland, um, and there's this big old and I have background in Church of God, so I don't know what you guys' backgrounds are. And there was always this guy that would talk to me about going to Lee University, and I was I was in my early 20s. I think I went to Lee University when I was 23. So like I was pretty like felt old already to be doing it. I'm like I'm too old to go to school, but every year for like the 2 or 3 years, he talked to me about it. And then one day he was like, I guess the deciding factor where I just applied to leave was like, here's an application. You don't need to put in a, if you give it back to me, you don't need to do a deposit, anything like that. I forget what it's called. And I was like, I don't have to give you no money. I can apply and not give you money. So I applied and gave it right back to him, and I got accepted, and I came down to Tennessee. And, I think that was, I believe that was a God thing because my life is so full here, and I have my community. I actually feel like I belong here. Like I said, it's just like, yeah, we go through our struggles, we have things, but at the end of the day, like, I love being here. I've learned a lot from being here and things like that. So I don't know if you know about Lee University, because I know actually a lot of people from Ohio comes to Lee University. So you might know somebody that do, but that's beside the point. I'm not going to hold up too much of your time. And I'm trying to think if there's any other questions I want to ask you guys before we get off here. Do you have any questions for me? Do you have any questions or?
So you're from Tennessee, you said, right?
I'm actually from Maryland. I'm outside.
Okay.
I'm from outside of Baltimore, Maryland. But when I went to school at Lee University, I went to Lee University in Cleveland, Tennessee, and when that was over with, I kind of just stayed in Cleveland, Tennessee.
Yes.
And it's a culture shock from where I'm from, but
I
like
bet.
I said, it's very. I love it here, and I wouldn't want to live anywhere else right now, to be honest with you.
Oh, that's awesome. I love to hear your story about you saying, like, it was a God thing that you were placed where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
That's here.
I definitely believe it is, and if my family was here, they would tell you like he ain't going nowhere. Like they would probably want me to move back up closer to them, but in reality, they would have to move closer to me if they want to be closer. I don't see myself, moving. And this is like, are y'all familiar with Church of God?
My family actually goes to Salina First Church of God. I don't know if
Okay.
that relates, but
So if you come to Cleveland, it is Church of God like Hollywood here. Like, like everybody, if anybody came to your church and preached or whatever like that, they would be down here. Like I know I'm kind of removed from that that denomination right now. Like there's people that I know I'll run into and I'll talk to them, and it's funny, but like it is Hollywood down here for Church of God. Assemblies of God, like any kind of denomination, I feel like it's just Hollywood. But it's Cleveland, Tennessee, though. It's the Bible Beltway, and so you're going to run into some churches. Like there's a church on every corner. So if you ever come down here, let me know. I'll show y'all around.
Perfect.
And if you do, we could set up an event or something like that. We could try to raise some money, and do some things. And I guess some of my buddies, I have some people that run nonprofit organizations and things like that. So if you ever in this part of town, let me know. Hey, you want to raise some money because I have some friends in nonprofit, and they're looking to help with things. So, yeah, that's about it. But like I said, I love it down here. Been Ohio, so I know my family's from Detroit. So like, if I ever get to like that part of the country, I'll always get at Verner's. Do y'all like Verner's or like the ginger? It's like a kind of ginger ale. The Verner's.
I've never heard of those.
I don't know.
For real?
No, never.
Wow. It's like I know people. Well, I don't know. I got a buddy that's here from Cincinnati that we're real cool with, and I'll talk to them about that. But yeah, I guess if you never heard of it, if you see it, try it. You may like it.
Okay.
All right.
So, like I said, I definitely appreciate you guys coming on. I don't want to hold up too much of your time, and I thank you for what you guys are doing in the community, and promoting inclusion, because as a person that wants to be more involved in the community, I definitely appreciate what you guys are doing and everything like that. Keep pushing, and if you ever come up with some new stuff, hit me up, because I definitely want to know what's going on in y'all lives with that,
All
things
right.
like that.
Thanks for having
So-
us. It's been
Yeah.
great.
Thank you so much
Nope.
for taking your time with us. It's been great.